Welcome to Senior Insights. My name is Cynthia. Today we are going to do part 3 of aging at home. So hopefully you've learned something from the previous 2 that we did. This is kind of a series that I've decided to do. And so here we are. So we've talked about all kinds of things in those first 2 videos, very basic things. It's in the details. You have to look at the details. That's what you need to do. You need to figure out those little things that you can take care of that will help you be successful in staying at home. Minimize your dependence on other people and stay home. We've talked about ramps, we've talked about decluttering, we've talked about gathering important papers together. I didn't really emphasize that an awful lot, but I am planning on doing another video, not right now because I think we've had 3 serious videos in a row and some people need a laugh, myself included. So we're going to go back to some silly videos or other types of videos. Anyway, we talked about really acknowledging where you want to stay. Everybody's home is different, and what you need to do to get there and to come up with a plan. So that's what we're doing. We've talked about the physical barriers. We've talked about all those things. Now we have to get down to the real serious things that are going to definitely affect how you age at home. What happens when the kids take away the keys because they don't think you can drive anymore because of either vision or cognitive changes or physical health, age, whatever reason they decide that they don't think you should. A lot of people, a lot of us make the decision on our own. My father, I remember he just handed over the keys. My mother, the way she handled it was she continued to keep her car in the garage. And we would say, Matt, why don't you sell the car? Well, what if I need to go to the store? So she kept it just kind of as an insurance policy. She never drove it for 2 years, but she kept the car. So that was her way of coping with it. 8.4 million of us depend on other people to support us, and we sometimes become a burden on our families. So we really do have to decide how much of a burden do we want to be. Or do we have the attitude, well, I took care of them when they were babies, they can take care of me now. So once again, we all look at it differently. So you have to figure out what your situation, not what I'm telling you, what your situation is. So if you lose the ability to drive your car, what happens? You feel like you have a loss of control. That's one thing. You can put the key in the ignition and you can turn it and go wherever you want. And now you can't do that. So essentially you're stuck at home, or you're on the deck, or you're on the porch, or you're on the balcony, or wherever you are. You're at the campsite. Oh no, you wouldn't be camping if you didn't have your license. Senior transportation is the 3rd most common thing that keeps people from staying at home. So you have to plan for it. I think the first plan is to never give up your license, but that's not a realistic plan. If you have to give up your license, if you choose to give up your license, what are you going to do? That's what you have to figure out. What am I going to do? How am I going to get all the things I need? How am I going to get out? So we're going to talk about some of the things which you can search on the computer, search elder care, search on YouTube. There are some fabulous videos. I have to admit, that I actually have gotten excited about this subject because I saw some really neat women, especially, who talk about the aging process and their views on it, and they were pretty impressive. So back to transportation. Some people have access to public transportation. Public transportation, you need to be pretty mobile. You can still use a walker or a cane, I guess, but you know, it's hard. You got to go to the bus stops, then you got to get up on the bus and all that sort of thing. So that's not for everybody. People that live in rural areas like I do wouldn't even have a bus that came within 20 miles of us, so that wouldn't work for us. People that live in the city, cities have a whole infrastructure of transportation. The trains, the subways, and all that. And if you've lived in the city, you're accustomed to taking them, and maybe you don't even have a car, and that's what you use anyway. But that is another possibility for transportation and getting where you need to go. Then for those of you who are wheelchair bound or even walker bound, I guess, paratransit is another way, which is basically what it is the handicap van that has a ramp that can help you get up into the van, and it can transport several people to doctor's appointments and that sort of thing. Some communities have those services available, some don't. So there's no one size fits all. Some of them work for people and some of them don't. I understand that Medicaid, if you're on Medicaid, they have a non-emergency benefit that they will either pay for or contribute to paying for a taxi or getting you to the doctor's appointment and stuff. Then where I live, we have, it's called Friends in Action, and they're mostly senior citizens that belong to this, and they have volunteers that will pick people up for doctor's appointments or go and pick them up and bring them to lunch at the senior center, at the community center. So you may have those types of services. Sometimes there are churches that will provide that, or if you want to go to church on Sunday, there might be people that would be willing to pick you up. That happens a lot. And so that's something, don't discount that. You can call the church office and say, I want to go to church this Sunday. Is there anyone that, could give me a ride? And you might be surprised at how many people would say yes. The other thing is, if you had an in-home caregiver, they could take you. I know my daughter's father lives with them, and he has a service called Visiting Angels. He's too sick now, but when he was able to, that person would take him to Walmart, or take him for a ride, or take him to the thrift stores that he liked to go to. But he was mobile. But she would take him if he needed the walker, as long as he could walk, and it was safe. So that's another thing. There are other services, privately owned services that provide in-home care, or they provide errand service. And once again, it doesn't even make sense to list them here because we're all in different circumstances. And so it would be kind of silly. All you have to do is search for elder services in your local area, and it should come up with a lot of the things that you need. Go to the community center and see what services they have to offer. Join it. Maybe if you join an exercise group, someone in the group will pick you up. It's not that you can never go anyplace again. Then nowadays, there's Uber and Lyft. I've never used Uber. I've never used Lyft. I've never used DoorDash. I have no clue how those things work. They sound like taxis to me. So what we have to do is look at these challenges, and they are challenges, and I'm not minimizing it. I'm just trying to help us laugh at some of the situations we're going to be in or you're already in. Friends will get sick of it after a while, don't you think? You can't totally depend on your friends. You can't totally depend on your children. They have full-time jobs. They have their own children that have baseball games, and they have to take off time to take those kids to the doctor. So we need to respect those things with our children. I have someone that I'm taking care of. He lives 5 hours away, and he used to call me. He's deaf, but he had an interpreter, and he would say, "Can you come to my house tomorrow?" And I would say, "I'm sorry, I can't. I mean, 5-hour ride and 1 day's notice, no. I can't. I have to get somebody to watch the dog," and blah, blah, blah. So you know all the things. You all know this stuff because you're smart. But I'm making you pay attention to it again because you have to if you want to be successful. So I gotta change my notes here. How are you going to get your medication if you can't drive? Well, one thing you could do is you can consolidate your trips. If you do drive, try and do as many errands as you can on that one trip. You're saving the aggravation, you're saving money on gas, and you're accomplishing something, so you're going to feel good. You're also probably going to feel exhausted. So, once again, only you know how you feel and what you can do. A lot of pharmacies now offer delivery service for a small fee, like $5 or something. Some offer a mail service. Amazon has a mail pharmacy service. So those are all things that you could consider or look into. Consolidate your medication. Get your doctor to cut out some of your meds. Maybe you don't even need all the meds that you're on. Sometimes they just keep piling them on, and they're half the problem of, why you're forgetful or you get dizzy or your blood pressure's wacky when you stand up. So all those things like around medication, and then put up your medication so that if there ever is an emergency, you have your medication. Remember I talked about that go bag? Well, we really should have one with clothes and important things too, but I haven't dwelled on that. So maybe I'll have time now, but I can tell already that I won't because I'm into this too long as it is. What about groceries? How are you going to get your groceries? Now, some places deliver. I told you on Mother's Day, I got a knock on the door, and my daughter-in-law had Walmart deliver a whole grocery package. So that was pretty neat. So you can do that. If you're still driving, you can have them package up your stuff, and you can pick it up. Or if somebody's driving you to the doctor's, you can coordinate it so that your groceries are ready right after you get out of the doctor's, so that the person that's driving you doesn't have to drive you today and then drive you tomorrow and drive you someplace on the next day. So you're saving and supporting your support system. Keep a list. I've only done it once, but I'm seriously thinking about all these things too. You can order your groceries online. When you order your groceries online, it actually helps you to stay in a budget because it tallies it up and tells you how much all these things that you see that you want are going to cost. and then you can cut things off your list. If you say, I'm only spending $50 because that's what I need to spend to get free delivery, then spend $50. Put everything you want down and then cut off the things that you know you don't need. It's kind of fun. Something to do. Keeps your mind sharp. You're on the computer. You're managing your budget. Now, how about meals? I don't know about you. I'm perfectly capable of cooking my own meals, but I don't like to cook. So therefore, I do not eat properly. I know that. I'm not underweight. I haven't lost any weight because I compensate for my caloric intake by eating candy and muffins and stuff like that. I'm just being honest with you. And some elderly people don't eat anything. They'll eat like a cucumber for lunch. Well, what nutritional value is that? Not much. So you've got to figure out how you're going to get your meals. There are options with this too. Some churches do like a Sunday night dinner. Some will serve a dinner Wednesday night. It's spaghetti night. Once again, you have to get there. Some will do takeout meals. Maybe you could get someone who you know is going to drop you off a meal. You can do Meals on Wheels. I've heard varying reports on that. My mother was a Meals on Wheels volunteer, and she absolutely loved doing it. And the reason she loved doing it was she said that you saw people that never got out of their house, never had another human contact, and the people receiving the meals were so happy to see you, because usually it's the same person. Now, I've heard varying reports on the meals are terrible, the meals aren't that good, you don't really get to pick what you want, so that's a trade-off. You could also, when your groceries, you could do TV dinners. You need to be careful, get a quality one, because a lot of them have so much sodium in them, and where most of us should be on low sodium diets for cardiac reasons. So as you see, there is an awful lot to talk about. Some children will make up, when they do their own meals, they will make up TV dinners for their parents. They'll make extra and then bring them over and put them in the freezer so that you can just open them and reheat them. So that's a nice way. You can actually make sandwiches and put them in the freezer. So if you like a bologna sandwich and you feel up to it, you could make several, make sure they're wrapped and put them in. Put a piece of cheese or something. If you're at home, like I want to stay in my home, well, most of you have seen videos of what my property looks like. You would consider it high maintenance, and some people would not consider it high maintenance. Every one of these deciduous trees drops leaves all summer long. So I'm still cleaning up from the winter, and I'm doing it myself, but I'm not as full of motivation or the physical strength. I get short of breath so easy that I'll take any excuse for not doing it. Do it 5 minutes at a time. That's the way you can declutter too. Set a timer, do 5 minutes. That's how you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. And you will eventually get it done. My deck is looking pretty good, but I have to blow it off every single day. Now, that's only my deck. I have trees that need to be cut down. I'm talking little like seedlings, saplings that are going to grow up, and they're going to obstruct my view, and they're going to mess up the view of the woods. So I used to do that. I can't do that now. So I have got to figure out who I can get to do that. Now, someone suggested, what about your kids? Well, I say don't even go there with me because I have 3 children. They all work. They all work 2 jobs. They have kids. They have houses. They have illnesses. They have their own stuff to deal with. They don't need to be hearing from me. Can you tell me how to turn on the TV? Can you do this for me? Can you change my light bulb? All those things we have to do as much as we can ourselves. So I might have to bite the bullet and hire somebody to do the yard work. Now, if you've been watching my videos, I've been talking about this for a long time. I really can't afford it. I don't have the money. But guess what? Today, I got my first YouTube check. And guess what? I was disappointed. But it's still more. And if I can maintain that amount of money every month, which nobody does, except the really hotshot video people, I'll be able to afford these things that I need to help me stay in my home. What about emergency things? It kind of goes along with household repairs. What happens when the ceiling light bulb burns out? Or when the handrail that was put up 10 years ago falls off the wall? Or what happens when your kitchen stove breaks? You need to figure out how and what you're going to do about that. Are you going to call your son and say, my stove is broken, I can't cook anything on my stove? Or are you going to have a list of repairmen already made up that you can call? Or are you just going to use your microwave because you can't afford it anymore? Whatever. Everybody's different. We're all unique. We all live differently. Let's see, what else can I make you feel bad about? So, those really are probably just the tip of the iceberg. You know how things come up unexpectedly. One thing goes wrong, then another thing goes wrong, then another thing goes wrong. What you have to do is plan ahead and figure out how you're going to deal with these things. Now, you may be fortunate and have a younger sister or brother that can take you out once in a while, and that's really nice. Not everybody has that. My younger sisters live 5 hours away. I'm sure they would, well, I know at least one of them would do it. And it would be a good time to get together because, of course, I don't get socializing that much. But anyway, enough is enough. We talked about decluttering, we talked about ramps, we talked about safety, we talked about losing your license, we talked about food, we talked about so many things. And I don't have any resources for you because I'm going to encourage you to go right now, after this video, go on the computer and search for elder services in your particular community, and then make a list. Figure out what they offer and make a list. Some people have volunteers that will come and paint the trim on your house and stuff, but you have to look and you have to find them. If you're fortunate enough to be financially comfortable, you can hire a housekeeper to clean your house. I didn't even talk about cleaning your house. Oh no, I'm not going to start on it now because we're into this for 25 minutes almost, and I don't want you to hang up. Well, you've already hung up because nobody listens past 9 minutes. Did you know that? But you may be fortunate enough where you can hire a service to come in and help you with bathing and dressing and preparing meals. Then you can maybe hire a lawn service. So once again, it's where we are with our lot in life, what our finances are, what our family situation is. Are we all alone? Do we have some little support? Anyway, I'm going on and on and on, even though I said I wasn't going to. Make sure that you come back tomorrow, and I'll have something fun and entertaining, but it will have a lesson. So make sure you bring your friends and do your homework.